This is the Business Storytelling Show with Christoph Trapp. Name a top 20 storytelling podcast and a top 5% podcast globally. Christoph chats with thought leaders and experts to share tips and tricks that can help you tell your company's stories better to drive business results. Available wherever you listen to podcasts, live streamed on major social media channels, and part of the DB&A television network, available on most U.S. television sets and streaming on Roku and Amazon Fire. Here's Christoph with today's episode. Let's go.
Let's go, business storytellers. Hey, how's everyone doing today? We're doing video, but we're talking about audio. We've talked about Clubhouse before. Does anybody still use Clubhouse? I don't. I'm not even sure I got that app on my phone anymore, but the times are changing constantly. We got Twitter, audio. We have all these other things. Let's see. We already have comments coming in. Today's guest has her own hashtag. I think it's Judy Rocks, and her crowd is already showing up. We have Robert Hanna here. Keep being awesome. Judy Fox, thanks for joining us. We'll throw up these comments as they come about today. But today we want to talk about LinkedIn audio. Who knew that was a thing? Who knew? I didn't. So Judy Fox connected with me, and I said, who are you? You have LinkedIn audio? Come on the show. I want to learn more about it. So here she is. Judy, welcome to the show.
Excited to be here. Fist bump.
We always give fist bumps to get the party going. So, really glad we connected on Twitter. And you technically connected with me first. And then I was like, oh, hold on a second. LinkedIn audio. What the heck is that? So fill us in. What is I don't have LinkedIn audio, so I'm once again behind the 8 ball, but you're on the 8 ball. Tell us about what is LinkedIn audio and why should we care?
Well, I'm going to first start with the story of how we connected. Yes, we met through Twitter, but I was originally searching for great examples of newsletters, and that's how I found you. And again, thinking about LinkedIn audio, the way to get access to LinkedIn audio is to join a LinkedIn audio right now because it is in beta. So when you posted up Robert Hanna's comment right there, he has early access. He's a great beta member who is running a bi-weekly or every other week town hall. But the point is, LinkedIn audio is rolling out. You mentioned maybe not being as active anymore on Clubhouse. These are locations for live streamers. If you want to audio live stream, that's how I think of LinkedIn audio. That's how I think of Clubhouse. That's how I think of all of the spaces to do audio.
And so, but what is the difference? So we are doing a LinkedIn Live, right? A video, obviously. We're going to repurpose it as a podcast. I'll probably write about it just because I haven't written about that topic on ChristopherTrapp.com. But how does the LinkedIn audio fit in? Is it basically a town hall meeting? Anybody can talk? Is it very similar to Twitter Spaces, or what's different?
I would say it definitely reminds me more of Twitter Spaces because it doesn't really have that same Clubhouse hallway feeling. You have to attend an event, just like you attended an event here to be at the LinkedIn Live, or you're watching a replay because I'm, talking right now to the people I know on LinkedIn. And even though I know this is going out everywhere, we are thinking through evergreen and these are events. So LinkedIn is thinking that way when it comes to LinkedIn audio, as like I said, the event space is what they're using. And then the other thing to think about is, yes, you can come up on stage, but it's not as big as Clubhouse. It's maybe, I think only 7 people can come up on stage right now. The numbers are, again, I try to keep that stage maybe around 6 or 7 because it can get a little glitchy. So I don't know if that answers some of your initial questions about LinkedIn audio. Yeah. It's still in beta and we're anticipating the rollout. I think the biggest question is, when is it going to roll out constantly?
That's always the question. When is it going to roll out? When can we try it? When can we use it? And it seems like some things just stay in beta forever and ever and ever. And sometimes they just expand. When you say 7 people on the stage, though, I mean, let's be honest. Every time I have people on the show, And let's say I got 3 guests, or we used to do webinars, on the live stream too with 4 guests. I mean, that's a lot of people talking on top of each other. How do you keep that conversation halfway structured when you got 7 people on stage?
Yeah, I would say that goes back to great live stream and audio event management. If you're going to run an experience, anytime that we run anything online, it's always an experience for people to attend and, come to these things. I want to do a shout out to Vinny Potestivo. He's actually the creator who has the beta access, and I have been granted the ability to go live with him on LinkedIn Audio as his co-host. And that is the power of collaboration. I mean, me and you right now are having a live conversation, and we can't pull somebody in. We can obviously see your amazing comments, and please let us know if you have any questions. And at the same time, we can't pull you up into this video. But what's really cool about audio events is you can bring somebody up. They can raise their hand and you can speak with them. And I think the power of communication and voice that goes beyond texting each other or messaging is really, really powerful. So
Very interesting. And of course, me, I'm always trying to hack into everything. And I'm thinking, I don't know if that's correct, Judy. I can bring people up, and I can, but
Oh,
not easily, right? I have
okay.
to send them the link, the same link you have. So somehow I have to get it to them and basically do it that way. But that is certainly an advantage. So anybody listening from Restream, um, put that on the list if you would.
So I am
Maybe
going to
people.
correct something. I currently, with Vinny Potestivo, we keep our stage pretty small, but
Cool.
I just double checked. You can have 17 total speakers easily.
17?
17.
Oh my goodness.
That's a
So I
lot of
should
people.
maybe I maybe shouldn't put up comments before I read them. But so Rob Edwards says here, looking forward to evergreen video for interviews attached to all my professional contacts that I can then also repurpose the file in other places. I think I'm a big fan, Rob, of repurposing anything. Is that possible with LinkedIn Audio? Is it like what we're doing here or no?
Yes. So I have started recording with my Zoom recorder. I have it like right over here if you need me to show you the equipment. I definitely have it ready to go for my LinkedIn audio spaces. So that way we can record the experience and turn it into a podcast. So 1000% take advantage of any time that you're live, anytime that you can record conversations.
So but then you have to get permission, right, from people, or do they agree to that?
Correct. You can also, make I don't know what to call it, executive decision that you will have a certain part of your show be recorded prior to bringing anyone up on stage. So it's you, and it's like me and you. Right now, we could be live audio streaming and record this, but maybe if we brought anyone in that wasn't pre saying, "Hey, I want to be recorded," we could just pause the replay out to the world in a podcast and just only submit the first part.
Got it. And then Orion Good here says Clubhouse no limit. That sounds like a mess. LinkedIn
Those
17,
stages can get crowded.
LinkedIn 17, Twitter 13. And of course, on this live stream, we can actually have up to 6 people, I think. Oh no, up to 10 people, but I
Oh,
would have
wow.
to send them the link. 10 people is also pretty crowded, unfortunately. So, okay. So why is it in beta? How soon is it going to roll out? And what would you recommend for people, for brands, how to use it once they have access? And how do they know they have access?
Yeah. So I guess the first step is, how do you even know you have access? Turn on creator mode. That is going to be the first step for all of us. So when you go to your personal profile, you are able to see on LinkedIn inside of your personal profile that you have the resource area that's private to you. And there's a toggle button that is creator mode. And when you turn that on, you'll start to get the rollouts for LinkedIn Live, LinkedIn newsletters, and LinkedIn Audio. The way that you're going to be able to see that you have audio is go create an event. When you go to create an event, it's going to give you the type options. And when you see 3 types come up, LinkedIn Live, external link, obviously to send us somewhere off of the platform, or a LinkedIn Audio event. So that's how you're going to see the first 3. And now you're going to have to remind me the next steps. I think you said, how can we get started as brands, right?
Yep.
Or how would I recommend a brand get started? I would say the first step right now is attend these spaces or have someone on your team do that initial research to attend some events, because you're going to want to learn like the ones that are doing really well. What are they currently doing? How is the flow? What are the pros and the cons of what you just experienced? And how you're going to get inspiration through the actions that you take. It's like, if I want to go out and run an amazing live stream show, I'm going to watch, several of these live streams and say, what went well on the show? What would I make my own? So again, you can learn so much by also attending Twitter space rooms or Clubhouse and get an idea of, wow, that was an amazing space that makes sense for our brand, because obviously every brand is different. And then back to you, because what was the next step? What was the next question?
I'm breaking all my own rules, but I'm so excited. There's so much stuff going on, lots of people tuning in, lots of good information being shared. So don't ask more than one question at a time is my advice to everybody. Now, while you were talking, of course, I was trying to see if I can actually do LinkedIn audio. If I'm, since you gave us the tips and tricks on how to check it.
Yeah,
Now,
let's all check.
And I just did. And so the first problem I encountered, and then we'll get to Wendy and Jory here in a second with your question. The biggest problem for me was, how do I even start an event? I know this is an event, but it's in Restream. So Wendy and Jory were asking, what are we using to live stream? I use Restream, restream.io. And this is how we are actually simulcasting to Judy's channel. And I think Restream might be one of the only platforms that has that functionality. It's just unbelievably awesome. So anyway, before I go too far down that area here, nope, it's not StreamYard, Jen. It's restream.io. I can't reply in the comments from within Restream. Unfortunately, you can't see that. Anyway, events. To create an event on LinkedIn, it's not on the top. You have to go to the sidebar. It says events. You have to click the plus button, and then it gives you the option online, and it says LinkedIn Live, because I already have that. And then the other one is external event link. So I don't personally have LinkedIn audio available right now, but that's how you can check. And as long as your creator mode is on, Judy, and you have access, that's where it'll show up, right?
Yes. So I have a screenshot of what it looks like. I have what's called the ultimate guide to LinkedIn social audio events. And I and if we want to put that in the comments here, we can put the link to the ultimate guide. It has a screenshot of how you can get to events without having to go on that left-hand column. The easiest way is probably to say start a post, and then you can choose events from the post feature. LinkedIn probably first thinks all of this content is a post. That's kind of the mindset of, how are you going to be a creator on LinkedIn? You're going to start with start a post, and then everything kind of filters out from there. And
we
then
have some.
Wear the fox ears. I do have them.
I was going to say, let's get to the important questions here at the show. There are the fox ears. Billy Thompson, thanks for tuning in.
Billy.
And thanks everyone. Thanks everyone for sharing the link, since I can't type that in. So once we have LinkedIn audio, is there a way to multi-stream to it, or is that not a thing yet? Or there was never a way. So what I love about our current setup, right? We're on LinkedIn, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on your YouTube, your LinkedIn, my Twitter. But that was never the model when it came to Clubhouse. And then that's why I didn't really jump into Clubhouse. So is that an opportunity, or that's the way you multi-stream is you do LinkedIn audio and then you do a podcast later?
I would say the LinkedIn audio, because I'm recording it now, I do have access to turn it into a podcast. I think what's great, and not a trying to do a plug for Clubhouse too, but the fact that we can do replays on Clubhouse, and what's interesting is I embedded the Clubhouse live, I don't know what to call it, the live show on Clubhouse where we talked about creating, and it was one of the first LinkedIn audio rooms that I created with Vinny Potestivo, and I live recorded it in audio on Clubhouse, which is just fascinating to me that that has now been repurposed and probably listened to by over 1,000 people.
It's unbelievable. So let's talk about, we got some of the technicalities out of the way, so to speak. But you and I have a topic, right? We know what we're going to talk about. We got 27 minutes. This is what we're going to be able to fit in here. You do a LinkedIn audio session. How do you determine the topic? Is it very similar to how we're planning on this show? Or how do you determine how to even fill that time with value and not just, boring chit chat, for lack of a better term?
Yeah, one of the tools that I have personally used throughout my journey on LinkedIn is actually something from BuzzSumo, where they research the top 100 best performing pieces of content on LinkedIn for like the last couple of years. And they did a roundup of all of the headlines and titles. And what's really interesting is that has served me, that one list has served me for years, ever since 2018. I discovered that list, I summarized it, and I now have it as a copy on my desk. And whenever I think, okay, I want to start a post, I want to run a audio event, how am I going to title it? That is the easiest way for me to think of a title. I have summarized that list as a downloadable on my website if anyone wants it, but it is definitely a power-packed list. It's about being clear on LinkedIn. When we think about the mindset on LinkedIn is, if you're active and your boss sees you or your colleagues see you interacting with something, they want to understand that you're attending something that is extremely clear and not confusing, because that will reflect on your brand and your business.
That, if anything, I came from the newspaper world where editors always tried to be clever with their headlines, and clever sometimes meant, or many times meant, not clear, right? Because it's like a play on words, and some play on words make total sense, but sometimes they don't, right? Especially for generational differences and whatnot. So I'm a big fan of that. Be clear with your content and tell people, where can they download that list?
Yeah, I have it at judyfox, JudyFox.com/SME.
SME. Got it.
SME.
So check that out on there. So when you do a LinkedIn audio, how do you make sure people attend, and how do you make sure the right people attend? I mean, I'm picturing you start and nobody shows up. And I noticed what you did for this show on your simulcast. You tagged like a gazillion people, but it didn't feel like spam, because you were like, hey, so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. Hey, and as so-and-so says, blah, blah, blah. Like, it was very much in context. It wasn't just like, some people, they say, join my show, and then they tag 5,000 people who have no relationship to anything other than that they were just tagged. So the way you did it felt very much like a community, right? I mean, so how is that one way to do it, and how else do you do it?
Well, the first thing I think about when it comes to tagging, and not every post would want to tag like I did on this one, for example. This one did naturally make sense to say, as a bit of a thank you, and at the same time, that list was me thinking of a resource and saying, Bobby Umar, Robert Hanna, I was listing Vinny Potestivo, the people that I'm networking with when it comes to LinkedIn audio. It would be really smart for you to also network with those people. And I think that's the power of tagging. Instead of just thinking, Judy wants visibility, I'm thinking, the people that would potentially come to this live show today, I can then direct them to that comment to say, please go check out their profiles. They either have beta access, or they are doing really good audio rooms that a brand or a company could check out, or have a team member go to on Twitter or Clubhouse, and thinking about being a resource. So I hope that makes sense for that concept of tagging. And the one more thing I want to think about is getting visibility. Is LinkedIn's giving you the option to invite about 1,000 people per week to your live shows on LinkedIn. So if you have any event feature go out, you can filter your connections to, I want this to go to marketing experts. I'm going to filter it. I'm going to filter it to, some more criteria. I think LinkedIn gives 3 or 4 criteria for industry, maybe location or title. And you get to then invite about 1,000 people to attend. I didn't do that for this one because I'm always experimenting, and I wanted to see, what if I didn't click invite and I just let this go out more organically, and I wanted to see the results. And I think it did really good. We had about 79 people say they wanted to attend.
Absolutely. I think that's a really good number. And the other thing is too, when you invite the right people. So for example, here, shout out to CJ Morris,
Oh,
who
thank
is
you.
handling all of the lower third graphics today, right? I don't even have to throw up the URL anymore. CJ is handling that, judyfox.com/SME, SME, subject matter expert. Really responding quickly here to Greg. Greg's comment, I use Restream because I like some of the new improvements and interface options. I agree. I've used Restream for a while, and I think the simulcast is probably the biggest improvement that I've seen recently. That we had somebody else here. Oh, that was Greg actually too. A previous comment: Restream or StreamYard both work well. I think a lot of these programs now incorporate LinkedIn Live. Switcher Studio certainly is another one. Orion, this is great information. Really appreciate you chiming in. So yeah, I think that's been a very good strategy to let it grow organically, to tag people, to see who tunes in, and I think certainly you've built a community out there. So what else do people need to know when it comes to LinkedIn audio? What else do we need to consider? Do we need a good mic? Do we do it? By the way, do we do LinkedIn audio on our computers, or is this also one of those crazy things where I only use my iPhone?
You can use both. You can use your iPhone and your computer. I mean, maybe not at the same time, especially if you're logging in from one account. But yeah, what's really great is, connecting it through your phone, and also the option to be on desktop and have a totally different audio experience. I do use my Yeti mic on the LinkedIn audio stage, and that's been really, really helpful. I will say that, oh goodness, now what was the other question you asked?
What
I knew it was going to happen.
I don't remember, and so the one thing I need to say to everybody and admit is, so I do everything on the business storytelling show, right? I'm producing it, I'm clicking the buttons, I'm asking the questions, sometimes too many at a time.
I just remembered.
Hold on. Yeah, don't forget it again. But with all these comments coming in, because Judy certainly has earned her hashtag Judy Rocks hashtag just based on the audience participation, it adds a whole nother level of paying attention to things. So I'm telling you, I may need to hire a producer if we keep this going. Judy, what was the other question I had?
I was going to add the power of LinkedIn audio compared to other platforms. Why would you pick LinkedIn audio over Twitter Spaces? Why would you pick it over Clubhouse and invest the time and the energy from your team or your resources? And here's the why. Because LinkedIn will alert people to say, Judy's speaking on stage at this event, on this audio event. And so when I'm on an audio event, and again, big shout out to Vinny Potestivo, where we're hosting this event together, the amount of people that click on his profile that have led to business opportunities, and the people that have clicked on my profile that have led to opportunities, is, even in a month, has blown my mind. So what I say is, and this idea that when you click over from Clubhouse or on Twitter, you're going to a profile that is a different experience than the one on LinkedIn. The one on LinkedIn is built with the business mindset already happening. Already, the social proof of who you are, your experience section has to be true. It is the recommendations. People wouldn't write those recommendations if it wasn't true, because their relationships and their business is on the line. So the things that you might say on other platforms, people hold a different level of expectations and validity to who you are on LinkedIn. And I think that can lead to faster business happening more quickly when you do an audio room or even a live stream.
Yep, fantastic. And we do have a question here from Anish. May I know if there's any free streaming tool for LinkedIn which can be used in mobile phones? So Restream you can use on your mobile phone. It's not the best setup. There's no mobile app, but it does kind of work. Switcher Studio, I don't think is free at any level, but they do have a mobile app. In fact, it's supposed to be used. It's supposed to be an app, right? It's not supposed to be used on your desktop. So check those out. I might still have a coupon for Switcher Studio. Trap 1 gets you a month off. Judy, really quickly here in the last 24 seconds, of course, you're a business accelerator. Tell us, how do people connect with you? Who should connect with you, and how do you help people?
I love accelerating people on LinkedIn from a business development and sales strategy. So the people I mostly work with are small businesses, and I work and send people onto a sustainable level of using LinkedIn. For example, I lean into leadership, strategic connecting, visibility that lasts, and how to have conversations that convert. And
Fantastic.
the last thing I was going to show you, do you want to see the equipment I use to record?
Let's do it.
Okay, I'll reach across my desk. I don't want it to be awkward because I wasn't planning on showing this, but it is just a Zoom recorder, and you can run the LinkedIn audio room through this, and there you go. Plug it in and you're good to go.
Good to go. Thank you so much for all the valuable tips. Really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
That's a wrap. Thanks for tuning in. Please rate and review our show on your favorite podcast channels. And don't forget to share this episode with your networks. We appreciate you. Until next time, let the best